Now moving on the next part. Just selecting this mesh. And repeating my steps as you get the idea workflow. As you see, we did not getting the desired polygroups. So let's check our mesh in Maya. This problem must due to non-manifold geometry. So just shift right click then choose clean up. Just reset settings. Choose non-manifold geometry option. Then apply. Then use Zbrush. This time we get desired result as we clean up our mesh. Now send to this Zbrush. And follow our workflow. Now this time we get the correct polygroups. Just activated the transparency to show how much deep they are going. Just press R to adjust the mesh. Now using Dynamesh here. Then poly by features. Then polish to full mesh. Now activate the live boolean. Now choose Make Boolean Mesh. Then copying this output mesh, then paste it to our original tool. But first delete this mesh. Then paste. Now back in Maya to this part. I just want to show a trick to show polygroups like thing in Maya. Just click on this option twice like that. Now back to Zbrush. Just follow the workflow. Just disable this function and slide the polish by features. But I did not want polish here, so just masking this area with control and brushing the surface. Now slide the polish by features to smooth up the hard edges like that. Now using the polish by features with groups enabled. Now I just using flat color material to easily see my masked area. Now just grow mask, sharpen mask, then blur mask. Now just use polish. As you see how we get from our basic mesh to high poly mesh quickly. Now just imported this part in ZBrush after Zbrush. As you see, this mesh does not have good topology. Just doing auto groups with UV. Then Dynamesh Master. Then polish by features to smooth the mesh. Then mask by feature with group enabled. Then grow mask, sharpen mask, blur mask. Then invert mask, then polish. Then imported this part, solo it. Then auto groups with UV. Then Dynamesh it. Then you know the rest. Now I just imported the beard logo. Then follow our previous steps. Now just using clip brush tool to get hard edge. Now just cleaning the ZBrush scene and deleting the unwanted objects. Now copying the subtools from here and pasting to this tool. And deleting the this star. Now activate the live boolean and choose subtraction here. Just managing this tool to get correct depth. After that, click on Make Boolean Mesh. Now copying this mesh to our original tool. But first I delete the previous meshes. And paste it here. Now back in Maya to this part. Just exporting it and importing in Zbrush. And now following the workflow. Just follow the steps to the screw also. Now just imported this part in new tool as we have to do some boolean before merging into the final gun mesh. Just following the steps. Now importing these cylinders from Maya. Append a sphere and import the mesh. Click on Live Boolean. And choose second option, which is subtraction option. Now importing the word into new subtool. Choose subtraction. And now managing the depth of subtraction. Now importing these cubes into new subtool. Append a sphere and import. Choose subtraction. Now just smoothing edges with using polish function and masking in conjunction. But I does not want polish to the interior edges, so just choosing mask pen tool and removing my selection. And also choose flat color material to easily show masked and unmasked area. After making selection, just polishing. You can also press Shift F to see the booleaned objects. After satisfying with object, just go to make Boolean mesh, which will make these all Boolean and give single mesh which has naming convention like umesh. After that, just doing Dynamesh to this object to make good topology here. Now just copy this tool and pasting it to my full gun tool. Now just regular exporting these pipes without using Mopex, as it will triangulated mesh. And importing to the Zbrush. Now add some division to get smooth mesh. Now exporting and importing this mesh into new tool so that after finalizing it we merge this to final gun tool. Just importing other mesh to Boolean. Activate the live Boolean, and also choose subtraction here. Now bring this part to Zbrush, also to Boolean. After completing, choose Make Boolean Mesh to bake into one mesh. Now copy this mesh and paste it into full gun tool. Now working on this screw-like thing. In our reference we have Boolean here, which I forget. So making this Boolean mesh in Maya. You can see I am doing some basic modeling, so just fast forward it. After completion of this part, send this to Zbrush to boolean this mesh. I just copy this part and copy to new tool, so after boolean I send this tool to final gun tool. Now just subtracting it. But first give some smoothness to this mesh, so that we get smooth subtracted mesh. After that, make boolean mesh. Copy this mesh and pasting this to full gun tool. But first deleting this previous mesh. Now detail these bullets in Zbrush. Now sending these mesh to boolean out of bullets. Now just importing them. Just add some division to get smooth mesh. Now activate live boolean. Now choose make boolean mesh. Now copy this tool and paste into original. Now just solo it. I am just polishing the outer edges to get some bevel on the edges. Now back to my to this model. As I did not add supporting edges to this model. Instead I use crease tool. So I just choose smooth mesh preview to mesh from my shelf. Now regular export this. and regular import to Zbrush. As you see, I forget the word on the back. So make some adjustment and make our final mesh. Now do some BPR render to get the render with shadow. As you see, make this complex gun very easily in unique way.